Well, first of all, I don't focus on background noise. I focus on my guys and I focus on what's in front of me. And I know where we're going with this program, so I don't necessarily worry about background noise. All I worry about is getting this team in the right frame of mind, getting enough talent into this program to get us where we need to get to. And I really 100% tell you this, I hear no background noise because I don't focus on the negative. I stay on the positive. So there's not another answer I can give you, whether it's my first year, fourth year, whenever. It's just a matter of we're not quite where we need to be, and we're going to tinker with it again. But right now, we're going to still move them forward and close out this year.
You spoke Sunday about conversations with guys who told you about the challenges of taking this job. What challenges have you encountered that they were telling you about, or what kind of challenges does this job specifically have?
The biggest challenge on this job is to travel. These Sunday games are hard on our guys, but they are what they are. I mean, you figure they get back here on Monday, they're in class on Tuesday. We get to turn around and play again on Thursday. That's tough, but there's not anything we can do about the travel. So, I can't dwell on the negative of that either. Whether somebody said a job is tough or not, that's their belief in it. I tell people this all the time. Everybody said the St. Mary's job was tough. Don't take it. Well, we took it, and we changed it. And then people told me the Oregon job. They never won there. Don't take the Oregon job. We took it. We turned and we won there, and that's no different here. We know where we're going with this program. I know, and it all centers around recruiting. It centers around positive energy, and it centers around your vision. So, again, what people on the peripheral see and do, they're not here with us every day. They don't see what we see when we go into Seattle and the recruiting is picking up. They don't see all of that. That's okay. So my job right now, again, is just keep moving this team in a positive direction, and that's what I'm going to do.
Are there any obstacles that are similar to the ones you faced at Oregon and St. Mary's in the first 3 or 4 years that you've seen here?
Probably the biggest thing is convincing those on the outside the vision that you have. I mean, again, from recruits, from coaches with programs on the outside want to point their players in this direction. I think this is a good place for them to go, and we're changing all of that. When you take a guy like Josh Hawkinson and his numbers as a sophomore, and then he ends up on the same list with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that's impressive. When you take a guy like Robert Franks and where he was out of high school to see what he's doing today, that's impressive. When you take a guy like Malachi Flynn, where he was out of high school, and see him today, there's a lot of positive stuff that people are looking at saying, we want you to coach our kid, coach my player. If we can get a piece or two here or there, this program will turn. So it comes down, in my opinion, again, to recruiting. And we're continuing to push that as we develop what's in the program right now.
Can you kind of detect what piece is missing right now? What would make a big difference, or what few pieces that you'd like to have?
I would say we need to get a little bit more tougher physically, and a little bit more stronger and things like that. So that'll come in time. But let's get back to this team, because, again, with all that being said, this team is one of the best shooting teams in the conference, one of the best shooting teams in the country. They all come back next year, the entire team. We don't want to give up on this season, but I also know how good they're going to be with another year of experience underneath their belt and everything, and now going into these situations and in these arenas for not the first time, but they go back in there with a lot more confidence their second time around.
There was a moment in the game where, against Oregon, where you guys were within 7 points. Juan Aqua fouled a three-point shooter, put the bucket in, and got the 4-point play, and then there was just a missed layup at the other end, and then 2 points, and Drick Bernstein kind of he let his emotion be like, oh no, here we go again. I mean, when you get in those situations, like you said, you might not be showing them tape all the time, but what are you trying to teach them to kind of steer away from, oh no, here we go again?
Well, first of all, did Drick Bernstein tell you that's what he said? Here we go again? Or are you reading into his body language?
I'm reading into his body language.
Be careful reading into body language, because I don't think that came out of Drick. Because I look at this team again. You can look at a lot of games, and we had that point in time in the game where there were a couple of turnovers, a couple of missed assignments, and then boom, the game changed just like that again. That's what I mean by the experience. It's not like you don't have the talent to play in a lot of these games. You don't have the experience to sustain in a lot of these games. That comes with time. So I don't think a guy like Drick Bernstein, for as frustrated as he may be, in terms of what went on during the course of the game. I see no quit, no give up in him. This team is evident of them coming back and how hard they played at Oregon. That's the best we've played in that environment, to be right there in the game with about 6-7 minutes to go, needing a couple things to go your way. Hit a bucket, and you're right there. And that was a very good Oregon team in an environment, again, that 11 of these 13 guys have never even been in before. That's what I look at. And I look at, okay, where are we going to be when we get into that scenario again? How are we going to play that team when we get them back here in Beasley with an 18-point-a-game score on the floor with us in Robert Franks, who didn't even play in the game. So I don't attack any of this from the negative. I look at it from the positive, and that might be the lesson to be learned with everybody here. Because, again, your questions, this scenario has played out before, where the doubters have been there and all that. That's okay. That's all a part of it. Our job is to build a basketball program and turn it into a winner, and we're totally focused on doing that.
Touching on being bigger, or like you said, being tougher this season, obviously Devontae got to play a lot more because Franks was out last night, but do you see him being a part of the solution to being a little bit bigger this season and for the rest of the stretch of this season?
I definitely see Devontae really helping us. He's starting to play a lot better and a lot more confidence. And he made a difference even in the Oregon game, being the biggest player on the floor. And also Quentin Henson, who didn't even play in the Oregon game. Another big-bodied wing that's all centered around confidence and being on your game at game time and that. Both of those kids can help us down the stretch. So we're not giving up on this team and giving up on this season, because there's still games to play, and there's this thing called the Pac-12 tournament sitting down the end too. So my job right now is to grow them as much as we can and move the needle as much as we can, and then do our work during the offseason and come back at it again.
And then specifically about Devontae, is he on pace with where you would expect him to be, or did you expect him to be playing a little bit bigger of a role at this point in the season?
I would have hoped that he would have played a bigger role sooner. But my thing with players, in particular with players that they're the first year in the program, be it that it's a freshman or even a JC transfer, and you hope the transfers come sooner. And my thing is, come at your own pace as long as you come, as long as you get there, because some guys are going to learn it quicker, absorb it quicker, get comfortable with the college community quicker, Pullman quicker, new offense, new defense. They come differently. The key thing is that you do come and you eventually get there. And in his case, he struggled early on, and now all of a sudden he's got some things figured out, and here he comes. Well, that's a real positive for us. A guy like Carter Skaggs, he came early. He started figuring it out. He was exciting. He loves to play. He loves to hoop. That's a good sign. So they came at different times, but they're both starting to help us now.
How's Robo look? Expecting to go this week?
He said he was at 100% and he felt great. That's what he just said. I'm at 100% and I feel great. So that's good. If he's great, I'm great. Because we needed him in the Oregon game. It could have really helped us.
Is the toughness something that this team had down in Fullerton, and you guys won some close games? And is it something that you saw at some point in the season and then it maybe evaporated?
There's no question about it, and that's the encouraging thing about this team. Early on, the blueprint was there. Because when I say toughness, it's not only just a physical thing that I'm talking about. It's a mental thing. It's a mental toughness, again, to know your job and do your job on a possession-by-possession basis over 40 minutes of a game. And believe it or not, it's hard to do, particularly for young guys or guys who have not been in that situation before. The thing about Fullerton, we captured it, and we had it there, and we saw a glimpse of how good we could be. The problem is you came out of there and you became the hunted, and it knocked us out of whack, and we've been out of whack ever since, trying to find it where everybody is on their game at the same time like we were down in Anaheim. So these guys know what that looks and feels like. We've been trying to get it back the entire year, and if we can recapture it somehow in these last few weeks, that would be a great thing for us.
With Devontae, how you're waiting for him to get there. Arenze, had a bit of a role for you guys the first 6-8 games, and then went maybe through that lull that young players go through. It seems like he's starting to gain traction in the rotation. I mean, what can you say about how his season maybe has been up and down?
You know, early on, he's another example that he was perfect for us to play our 1-3-1 trapping defense, because we could put all that energy at 6'9" up at the top. He was very disruptive. As we got further into preseason play and conference play, teams figured out how to attack it, which neutralized Arinze's effectiveness out on the floor and everything, because he's another one of those players that's still learning this level, how to be consistent, mentally tougher to be consistent on the floor. As of late, you notice we've gone back to that 1-3-1, and we felt like it was very good for us against Oregon, and maybe with even some of these teams got in the stretch, we'll see he'll start to play a bigger role again. The biggest problem with him is he's at the same position as Robo. So as Robert Franks emerged, it kind of neutralized Arinze a little bit, because I don't think any of us expected Robo to emerge as greatly as he has this year, where he's putting up those kind of numbers and shooting the ball that well. And it's very difficult to have the two of them on the floor at the same time. But yet there's still minutes there for Arinze, but it comes down to, again, the mental toughness of knowing and doing your job, that you don't knock us out of whack when you're on the floor.
What kind of influence has Benny Seltzer had in a short time with the program?
You know, the thing I like about Benny is Benny influence becomes a huge factor because of a couple of reasons. He's one of the few players on staff, one of the few members on staff in the program that's been to an NCAA tournament, that knows why we work as hard as we work, and has an opportunity to see that vision that maybe the students don't see and maybe all of you don't see. Benny's been here when this program was a winner, and he saw the arena full. He felt the energy in the community, felt the energy in the building, the energy on campus. As a coach, I've coached in that building when it was a winner. And it was a very tough place to play because all that energy that's in the building. So we have this vision. Benny shares that vision because he has been here to experience it. So he becomes a great asset in terms of with these players, in terms of recruiting, because not only can he talk about it, but as a recruit and as a player, you can hear his emotion, his passion for his school and for our basketball program. That's the beauty of having him on staff.
How long have you known him? Were you familiar with him before this year, or did you kind of seek him out this year and find somebody who played here?
I've known him for some time from afar. I've never known him up close and personal, but you see guys on the road, you know who coaches are. And when I decided to make the coaching change and brought him on board, now you got into an interview process and did your homework, research more, talked to a lot of people who knew him, and he became the perfect fit. One of the questions that should be asked is talking about the staff, because not only do you have a new group of guys, you've had to coach a new staff, a staff that walked in the door, and three of those guys that don't know anything about what you're doing, the system, style of play, your terminology, doesn't know all your plays on offense, defense, all that's new to those guys in terms of what we're doing. So you literally have been coaching your staff while you've coached your basketball team. So I knew we were going to be disruptive this year a little bit in terms of our continuity. This much, no. But here we are, and we have to deal with it and move forward. But moving forward, the benefits of those guys right now will really show up in terms of the recruiting class that comes in the door. They were not here for the recruits that are here right now. They're going to be responsible for the ones that are coming in the door, however, one of those being C.J. Ellerby. So I'm waiting to see the results of that. And then obviously, again, next year, they're an experienced staff. They don't have to learn all this for the first time. They'll take the reins more, do more, and we'll be better even as a staff as well.
A lot of people don't realize how good of a recruiter Benny is. I mean, he's the guy that found a player like Victor Oladipo and that developed him at Indiana. What's the effect that he's had so far in just his brief amount of time with recruiting? I know he had the help with Carter Skaggs.
I think the biggest thing with all of those guys, and I'll focus on Benny, is the fact that he knows so many people. When I talk about recruiting and taking over a program, the continuity of winning comes about with the continuity of recruiting. Hello, Oregon, UCLA, Arizona, USC, UW, Arizona State. The continuity was there. All the recruits knew who the coaching staff was. The contacts were already out there. You already had a name for yourself as you recruited. When we came in the door, you have to rebuild all new relationships when it comes to Washington State's recruiting. Benny really enhances that because he's so well known in the Midwest. He's been doing this long enough as an assistant and head coach. He's had success here, so he becomes a big asset in terms of your recruiting. He's been very valuable to us just in terms of the energy that he brings to it, name recognition, continuity of contacts out there that he can sell Washington State to.
You get Colorado and Utah for the second time around this week, and Colorado is 11-2 at home, while away they're 1-7. What do you see on film that's going to help you?
I see a team that struggles when they get away from the emotion of the energy that's in their building. Those 10,000 strong, that tremendous student body presence that's sitting in that arena gives them a huge advantage, and obviously playing in the altitude does it as well too. But for us, it's going to come down again to toughness. They're a tough team to play. We've got to have our mental where it needs to be at game time. Hence, again, hit the reset button with young people to drown out any noise, and we have an opponent here that we can compete with. Let's just focus on the game. There's nothing we can do about the noise. I constantly tell these guys, Ike, Josh, Connor, and Charles all went through a 1-17 season. Today, Charles is playing with the #1 team in Lithuania. Ike's drafted into the NBA, had 29 points a couple of nights ago in the D-League. Josh is playing one of the top programs in Japan, and Connor has a chance to play on their national team. I don't think they're thinking about 1-17. I think they're thinking again about the experience they had here, and look how they developed through this situation, and look at where they're in their life today. That's my focus, moving a team, moving a needle, and moving players to help them understand that you're in this moment right here. It does not define who you are as a man, and doesn't define who they are as a player either. Let's deal with it. Let's grow from this moment. I don't care how adverse the situation is. Move the needle, and let's keep moving, because this is just a season. It is not their career. And that's what I'm going to encourage fans as well, too. We knew this wasn't going to happen overnight. This has been a tough rebuild, but we're committed to it. Hopefully you can feel my passion and my energy. If I have to carry all of you and carry the community, carry the student body, get on. I got broad shoulders. Let's go. But I'm not going to be detoured by where we're at, because I think I got a talented group of players. It's evident the way they shoot the ball. Best shooting team I've coached. And I think I need a piece or two before we get there, and we'll just keep moving towards.
Sorry, I got one more on Benny. Did you reach out to Kelvin and Tom Crane about him?
Absolutely. I reached out to both of those gentlemen, and they both literally said the same thing. Tom Creams talked about how much it hurt him when Benny left his program, and Calvin talked about how much he helped him being in his program. And both of those guys spoke very, very highly of him, because not only is he a great recruiter, really understands the game, brings a tremendous amount of energy and passion and a connection to Washington State. The mentoring piece is unbelievable. That's the piece that I really needed with him and Coach Haskins. They're tremendous men, and they're tremendous men of character, and the mentoring that they've brought to this program is huge. And the growth behind the scenes that some of these young men have gone through has been tremendous, and I know it's going to pay great dividends down the road. So, again, I'm happy that he's here with us.
You talk about name recognition. Ed Haskins, big in Seattle. Is this the biggest time that WSU basketball within the last 10, 15 years that you can remember has someone that's so recognized in the Puget Sound and that area for recruiting?
Well, I don't know WSU's history back 10 years ago if they had a guy on staff from Seattle. No, because I don't think Washington or Washington State has really opened the door up that much to those programs that are in the city over there in Seattle. Yet we have a guy that I was sitting at C.J. Ellerby's game on senior night, and to see the outpouring of emotion from those people in that arena that are key figures in the community, be them principal, coaches, community leaders, civic leaders, and the respect that they came over and paid Ed Haskins. It tells you, again, the door that we've opened up over in Seattle in terms of recruiting. I think, again, the style of play, the energy is all very, very important to us. The, as you call it, noise doesn't help what we're trying to get done over in Seattle when you think big picture. We have to block out the noise and keep our vision intact as to where we want to go. And eventually, the noise will quiet down and come into a positive noise. But Ed is very, very important to where we're going. His relationship in Seattle is invaluable for us.